To a consumer, the choice of content is vast. There are several streaming platforms to choose from, as well as a slew of blockbusters hitting the cinemas.
There is a shift because the audience is actually dictating to us how we make stuff for what platform.
Joining us is Robert Simonds, chairman of major distribution and production firm STX Entertainment. At the moment, there is a freeze in green lighting content. What is that about?
That's actually a good question. I think it has to do with how do you define what's being greenlit? So my personal experience is I'll do another 10 movies this year, all with big budgets, all with movie stars. But unlike the past, 6 of those will be 100% with streamers, with Netflix, Amazon, Apple, Hulu, and only 4 of them will be for theatrical. So content is being made, premium content is being made, but what we used to call theatrical movies that are basically built to be released in theaters and then eventually work their way downstream, there are far, far, far fewer of those being made. And I think that's a big part of the transition, is there is a shift, partly because what the audience will pay for at the theater and the experience they want at home is very different. And the audience is actually dictating to us how we make stuff for what platform.
So what's driven that? Cost, is it?
I think what's actually driven that is the streamers came on with massive pocketbooks and a real appetite for traditional big directors, big budgets, big actors, because they were all competing with each other. And there was a bit of an arms race. So if you're a content maker, it was great to just build your package and then essentially auction it off. Because they're not in competition with the studios. The streamers with their big pocketbooks are in competition with each other. And the people making the content have to decide, do they want to sell to a streamer and craft the story for a streamer, or do they want to go for the theatrical experience? The way the economics work is that when you make a movie with a streamer, they buy out all of your profits, but it's very safe. If you make a movie for theatrical, you may make a tremendous amount of money, or you may lose money. It's a very different dynamic.
There can never be a situation where there are too many streamers, can there? There's too much choice for the consumer.
So right, from my standpoint, and I think from a lot of creators' standpoints, they like there being a lot of streamers. Because if there were just 2 or 3, they have all the leverage. And they're going to dictate the price. Right now, you actually have an increasing number of streamers, not a decreasing number of streamers. We keep talking about consolidation, and there will be consolidation. But right now, you have 6 or 7 major streamers, some other smaller ones, like Roku, they're trying to get into the game. There are some like Hulu, which are hybrid because they're just domestic. So you can craft really interesting deals with each of them. And then you've always got theatrical.
Are you finding at all that, although there are a lot of streamers, that some of them are making fewer films than maybe they were 3 or 4 years ago? I mean, there was a boom in the pandemic for obvious reasons, wasn't there? And the general feeling amongst the public is, oh, they're still out there, but they've cut back a little bit, the streamers. They're not making as much content as they were.
So with the streamers, it's a great question. The streamers are doing something slightly different. When they first hit the market, they were buying really big talent for really big checks and giving giant budgets. Now, when you make a movie theatrically, there's massive performance anxiety. There's a real fear that you're not just going to be humiliated, but you're going to lose money if the thing doesn't work. So you make the film and you're going to be tested by the whole world. And there's a way of keeping score, which is your box office. The streamers kind of did away, at least initially, did away with that. Because they'd give you a lot of money, they'd buy out your back end, they'd pay you as if it were successful, and then you would just make it. So one of the byproducts of that, at least initially, was that the performance anxiety kind of went back. So you were getting a lot of films that were big, expensive, but a little tiring because I think in the back of the mind, not at the front of the mind, but in the back of the mind, you're like, you know what, do I really have to go through the mental gymnastics of trying to make this plot twist work, or do I just throw in another explosion? And they were throwing in another explosion. That's changed, and it's changing aggressively, because the streamers are now really looking at their metrics in a way that, and they've become very sophisticated at this. They're looking at their metrics to say what's working, what's not working, what do people click on, what don't they click on, when do they tune out, and do they come back, or do they just tune out and not come back? So these metrics are now being used in a way that they weren't really being used before.
During the film itself, you're saying?
Their access to data is profound. And what they're now doing is they're challenging their executives, who used to just say, here, go make it, we need it, we need these big stars that people are going to subscribe to see. They're now going, actually, we now have metrics where performance anxiety does kick in. I think that's actually a really good thing. And I think you're going to see a real focus and intensity on what you actually get from some of these big streamers.
Should we talk about AI? Because obviously,
Sure.
Wherever we are in the world and society, it's starting to take an impact, and particularly in the creative industries. What impact do you see it in your industry?
So I'm actually a big fan of where we're going with AI. Right now, most of the discussion around AI has to do with visual effects. Like, we can make Tom Cruise speak perfect Japanese. We can create this world in which you believe it's real, but it's not. It's very visual, and I think that in that aspect of filmmaking, the advances are coming furiously and daily. I still approach AI, particularly generative AI, from a story standpoint. My cynical point of view is I could walk through this amazing palace with my iPhone for 90 minutes, filming everything, and making it sparkly and interesting and whatever, but it's not a movie, it's not an emotional journey. I'm not taking you on that path. So I think, at least from my standpoint, where the really, really interesting stuff is going to happen in AI is unlocking human creativity instead of replacing it. And in fact, that is where I think the world is going to go. I'm investing heavily in that.
Might AI have a negative effect in terms of job creation, or rather taking people's jobs?
I think that from the creative standpoint, if AI becomes a tool that helps unlock your creativity, it's actually going to increase it, because everybody will be more creative. All children are creative. You look at a preschool, they're all creative. Something happens where their access to that creative flow gets blocked. So if AI can help unlock that, then you'll actually allow everybody to tell their story, idiosyncratic, personal, unique, and the ones that really touch other people will be fantastic. On the more nuts and bolts standpoint, yes, I do think that AI will replace more of the visual jobs in Hollywood. It'll be far more efficient and, frankly, cheaper. So I think that if you're creative and you can use this tool, it'll supercharge you. If AI is in there doing stuff that you can do, look, I actually think it's going to be really interesting in the visual effects world with coders. I mean, AI will just remove that group immediately. Immediately.
Thank you very much indeed.
And thank you.
Thank you.